We're back here with Jamie from Vigilant, and Jamie, you're going to be talking about mill certs and Section 232 tariffs. I'm all ears. You should be too. Take it away.
Yeah, I think the 232 tariffs, we have to treat this situation somewhat like we do the USMCA program and any of the free trade agreements, is that, in the past, if you had the 232 tariffs have been around for a little while, particularly on the metals, so steel, aluminum, now they've added copper, and it's been expanding to other programs as well. But for the mill certs, we're specifically speaking about the metals. And, you used to be able to just ask the supplier, what's the country of origin of this metal? You put that on your documentation, you're off to the races, you're done. But now the government's expecting more. They want you to be able to validate the country of origin and validate the content of how much of that metal is in there so that they're getting the maximum of their specific duties. So the 232 there is some arguments as to whether or not what you can declare. Is it the raw metal or is it also the processed metal? That's still up in arms right now, and there's actually a case in the Court of International Trade specifically on that confusion as to which one should be applied. But what is clear and documented today is that you need to provide the mill certification, which is what shows where did that metal come from, where was it poured, where was it smelted, where was it cast. All of those things will be contained in that document that helps really prove where did this metal come from, and the government expects you to have that on hand and to be able to present that if requested.
What can an importer do right now to be ready for that?
Right now, I would say the most critical thing we're seeing is that a lot of times suppliers are unwilling to give a lot of information. They don't want to share. They have their proprietary information, their relationships with their suppliers. They don't want to share that with you. And so one thing that's really critical is that in your contracts, you need to have documented in there that you are allowed to ask for those documents. If you don't have that clearly outlined in your documentation, anytime you ask for information, they may come back and say, I don't have to give it to you. So that can create a lot of problems and challenges in the overall import process. So making sure your contract allows for it, once it does, getting all of those certificates for everything, bringing that in, storing it, having it prepared, have a database with all of your products, what those percentages are, what the country of origin, the corresponding documentation. You may not be able to do this all on your own. One thing you may need to leverage is a third party, either a consulting or managed services or a law firm that can assist you in pulling that documentation, so that in the event that is requested by the government, that provider can give it directly to the government if there is concerns. You can do that all through a non-disclosure agreement.
I will say free trade is not free of confusion in terms of the regulations or not, is it?
It really isn't. There's a fair amount of complexity that's going on right now. And again, companies are receiving, they're paying 200% of tariffs on aluminum. That automatically defaults. So if you bring in aluminum and you can't prove where that country of origin is and what that percentage is, just like that, they automatically assign the 200%. So what was, should have been a 25 or 50% is now 200%. That's a huge impact on a business.
That's so. If somebody's watching this and wants to know a little bit more about what Vigilant can do to help them, what's the next step for them?
Yeah, best step is to contact us. You can reach me directly, either through LinkedIn or through email or through our website, vigilantgts.com. We'll be happy to help you or to at least point you in the right direction.